Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name's Soleil and I garden in a Zone 5B in mid-Michigan. And today we're going to do several projects around the garden, including working with this spent compost and making good use of it. We're going to be hopefully transplanting some junipers out into the new front garden bed. And then we are also going to finish potting up one of the pots that we didn't have enough potting mix for the other day. So we'll make a nice little fall planting arrangement. All right, well, let's get started. Okay, well, you'll see I have one bucket that's full of compost that has been broken apart. And this is all going to be taken back to the Wayback garden. We're going to use this as a kind of mulch around some of the plants back there. I've been adding compost slowly but surely. And one of the things in my garden that I like to do is make use of things, reuse things as much as possible. I don't know about you, but I always garden on a budget, so it's not always something that's in the budget to go out and buy a whole bunch of new compost or a whole bunch of new potting soil. And so I try to stretch my resources as much as I can and make good use of them. It's also really environmentally friendly. So I'm just going to break up some more of this compost. As you can see, it came out in really big clumps from the pot because it is full of roots. And so I took my hori knife and I started just by slicing it up into smaller pieces. And now I'm just breaking it down with my fingers a little bit further to make it into kind of smaller size, even smaller and smaller size chunks, to make it as freeform as possible so that it will be able to be spread around the plants in the back. And this root material will compost down really nicely. This is nice moisture retentive material, and it will help to hold in some of the moisture in that dry soil back there and help to break down some of that heavy clay soil. Now you could dig this in and amend it, but I find that it works really well over time if you just continue to add a light layer of compost or bark or any type of organic material that will break down. It will feed the soil and all of the little things that are in it. They will help break it down over time, which will then feed the roots of your plants and make them healthier and happier. Unfortunately, my garden cart right now is full of stuff. I didn't feel like emptying it out today, so we're using these smaller buckets. So it might actually take me a couple of trips back to the Wayback, but I think these are actually going to be more manageable to work with on the hillside anyways. All right, let's take our first load back. Well, we have suffered one loss out here in the Wayback garden, and that's I think this was called the raspberry splash pulmonaria. It was actually my favorite one out of the whole batch because it was one that's hard to find. I actually had a picture of it on my phone, and I had found it in the trial gardens at MSU and was just looking for it and trying to see where I might be able to get it. So when I came across it at Countryside Gardens, I had to pick it up, but none of them looked really great that day for whatever reason. And I thought, well, maybe they just have powdery mildew or something like that. And so I thought I'd pick one up. Anyways, it was a decent price anyhow, and it was worth a try for sure. But it definitely has died. So that is one unfortunate loss in this area. But it's okay. I will probably not plant anything in this space just because of the fact that I believe it had some type of disease, whether it was powdery mildew or something else, I don't know. But I don't want to risk losing another plant in the exact same spot right away. So I'm going to give it some time for the soil to kind of rebound from that over the winter, and maybe in the springtime we'll come through and plant something else there. So I'm just putting a light layer over the current soil back here. Some of it has a little bit of mulch over the top of it. Whenever I have a little bit of extra mulch or compost, this is kind of a nice place for me to bring it, to just kind of continue to improve the soil back here. Now, if we get a really, really heavy rain, it probably will wash some of this compost out, but I don't worry about that. I just put it down, and as much of it sticks and gets worked into the ground by all of the little animals back here, that will still improve the soil no matter what. And of course, while I'm back here, I'm always pulling a few little weeds, because those honeysuckle bushes and the buckthorn trees that are invasive always seem to be leaving little babies everywhere. A little layer of compost also tends to kind of freshen up any garden space, no matter what kind of mulch you use. All right, I'm going to go grab a couple more buckets, and we'll be back to do some more down at the bottom side of this. All right, well, working on this hill is always a challenge, but I am not dissuaded. We will continue to make this a more beautiful place. Each year it gets just a little bit better, and that always spurs me on for a little bit more. Now, I did come through here, and I'll show you a little bit closer as we look at how this looks after we get things mulched in. But I did come through with some firewood that was chopped to help kind of hold the pea gravel in place, because it definitely can get pushed out of place by things like rain and even just walking on it. And they have kind of just the right angle, but I still need to get some things to hold those in place. Whew, the ground is wet from the rain, and that definitely makes it a little bit more slippery on the hillside as well. The clay always gets slippery after the rain. Now, because this soil is a little moist, I'm just going to kind of tap it into place to help hold it to the ground and give it good contact. All right. Well, here's what it looks like now. And I think that we have a nice, really nice contrast going on between that soil and the plants and the pea gravel. You can see that line of like firewood that I put up along the edge here to help hold the pea gravel in place, along with a couple of rocks that we dug up back here. So just using some of the resources that I have at hand that are budget friendly and also kind of go along with the natural woodscape back here. I wouldn't want to put something, you know, that is kind of out of place or out of sync with feeling like you were back here in such a nice woodland setting, to take away from the beauty of the natural setting that we have here. And so I'll just take you back a little bit so you can see what it looks like from this other angle, just because I know I didn't cover this in the garden tour the other day, but the Brennera that we've planted are doing really great. The ferns are looking wonderful because of all the rain that we've gotten. I think things back here have begun to thrive quite a bit more. So I'm really happy with how it's looking these days. And I can't wait to see what some of the hellebores do next year. We had just a couple of them blooming this year, and so maybe this next year we'll have even more. You can see we do have some mums on the hillside back here that are in bloom right now, along with some garlic chives. And garlic chives can be quite invasive, so you have to be careful about planting them. Don't plant them if you don't want them to take over. But I don't mind them back here. They do look really nice and kind of light up the shade a bit. And they're pretty easy to dig out if I need to back here, because I don't have a lot of other plants that I really care about. Otherwise, they do tend to come up in between plants that you may have put into your garden design. So just a little warning about those. They're very different from some of the other alliums that I've had. Oh, you guys, I see some blooms on the pretty and pink epimedium. Let's go look down there at it real quick, closer. You see those? Aren't those cute? Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I hope these do well back here. They'll be so pretty. And here's some other ones right now. I love it. All right, let's go get our other task done too. All right, well, we are here by the side of the pool, and we are going to be pulling the junipers from these pots for planting in the new garden bed. I think I told you at the beginning of the season I was going to plant them across the pool over on either side of the steps on the deck back over there, but that's not going to happen because those viburnums that we cut down are not dead yet. So I'm hoping they'll die off more over the winter time, and perhaps next season we'll be able to get them out of the ground. Have to be really careful digging over there because we have underground pipes that are over there with the pool. So I want to make sure that they're pretty dead before we dig them out to make it a little easier. So these junipers are supposed to stay really small in terms of width, and the height is only about 15 feet on them. These are a blue point juniper type, and they are called Blue Arrow, I believe. I will double check, and if that is not correct, I will put something up on the screen for you. So we're going to pull these out of the pots. Hopefully the buckets that I just used for transporting that mulch will also work for putting these junipers in them, and we will carry them out to the front garden so that we can start planting them, and I'll show you what we're going to do. I'm very excited about this, you guys. Hopefully these come out pretty easily. I don't know how well they will have rooted in, and I do think I may end up having to take some of the plants out of these pots. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this root slayer shovel in the pot to try to just make sure that I can get a good clean cut of the roots. it does feel like they are rooted in pretty well, which actually surprises me. I'm not too worried about, if some of these other plants have to come out, so I might just pull them right now. And like, they aren't exactly fall vibe plants with the exception of the sedums, so let's see if I can get them out of the way here. I think all the roots are interconnected at this point. This could be a WrestleMania show today, you guys. Wrestling plants. I'm gonna pull these petunias too. All right, now I can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna tip this pot over and then we're gonna try and pull it out that way. Success. All right. Let's try the other one. Okay. All right, well, the sun is out and shining today. It's going to be in the 70s. It's a beautiful day to be out in the garden working, and we're going to get these junipers planted. Now I'm going to put these on either side of this weigela. This weigela is the Sonic Bloom Pink weigela, and it's been doing pretty darn good, I think, since it's been put in this bed. And these junipers, like I said, they're going to stay rather small, so they should only get about 2 feet wide and maybe 15 feet tall. So, I want to make sure that they're away from the trunk of the maple tree here that I have planted, far enough away so that it is not going to be in complete shade. So this bed faces north, so it's going to get sun all day from the east side. It'll get a temporary break, and then we'll get the western sun later in the day as well. So I think they should get plenty of sunshine. We'll see how things go as this tree gets bigger over time, but I think it's going to be really beautiful because I wanted to add a little bit more blue color into this garden bed. So let's get started digging. All right, well, I like my garden to be nice and lush and full, but I'm not going to plant right up on this. I'm still going to space this out a little bit because this weigela does need a little bit more room to grow but I want it to kind of grow over and in front of this juniper because I think that will look really beautiful. And I want kind of the symmetry on either side of it. So I think this will be great. And these are really drought tolerant plants. And that's really important to me right here, especially because eventually they will be competing with the roots of the maple. And also because they're really drought tolerant, I'm going to plant these slightly above the soil level in the ground here. Now I have lots and lots of mulch in this garden bed because this is a brand new garden bed, and that's how I made it without digging in the first place. And there's a video all about that if you want to watch it in my playlist. But it'll be also kind of interesting to see how digging is in this ground because I think we're going to run into some old maple tree roots because there was another maple tree that was kind of like just behind me over here that the neighbors took down. And as a result of that, I thought it would be nice to add a little bit more height over here again. And also, it's just an excuse to buy more plants, right? Well, even though this soil is still looking like it's pretty well clay, I have to say I'm seeing life in it now. There are worms in it, so that's fantastic to see. Some of the roots of the grass that are left in the soil are breaking down. Yeah, I'm seeing quite a few worms in here, so that is fantastic. That's just signs of life in the soil, means that it's starting to create better growing conditions. If I left this soil out right now, I can tell you that it will probably turn into something similar to concrete as it dried up. It's quite incredible how bad the clay soil is until it's improved. But once you improve it, clay soil can be amazing to grow things in because it has so many nutrients in it. Now we're probably going to get some more rain. We've had some recently, and we'll probably get some more in the future here in the next couple of days. Let me just turn this, I think, this way, and then check it out. So, oops. I guess I got to put a little soil around it before I can do that. Try and hold it up. There we go. Yeah, that looks like about the right spacing there. Now, as I put these in, I'm definitely going to break this soil up so that it makes it a little easier for the roots to begin to grow into the soil. But it is perfect planting time for us here in Michigan because of the fact that we get so much nice rain this time of year. And the temperatures are fantastic. We are going to be in the 70s, I think, for at least the next 10 days. At least that's what's in the forecast. Now, if you live in Michigan, you know that can change really quickly. I'm just going to make sure that the juniper has really good contact with the soil before I finish mulching. And I think this is going to be a really nice view from the neighbor's house as well. That's my goal, to have it look nice from all sides. Right, I think this looks like about the right spot. But after I dig away the mulch, I will kind of put the plant in place, mulch around it a little bit, and then I'll step back and take a look to make sure it is kind of equal distance from the weigela that is there as well. Hopefully this will hold for just a second. Stay. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, good. I'm on the right track. Now, even though these are drought tolerant, it will be really important for me to give them a nice hefty watering. After getting them in the ground, just to help settle the soil in around them. Somebody asked me once about whether I had my rocks that are around the garden bed set in concrete because it looked like I had concrete in front of them, but that's just the color of my soil. It's really kind of a gray. Let me show you up close. It's really heavy, really gray clay soil. And it takes a while to actually break that up through adding compost and organic matter. But once you do, it works really well. I think I actually want to plant it this way. So again, I'm going to prop it up with some soil and kind of see how that looks. All right, I do like that position. Has a little bit of a lean to it, so we're going to just kind of make sure that it's growing straight up. All right, now let me firm this in. Ah, yes, I love it, you guys. This is great. Look at that vertical accent in that garden bed. That's a really nice structure for the back side of that border, isn't it? And I think that's going to look really great filling out. It'll hide a little bit of the pavement back beyond there as well. And it's really nice to have that fine texture foliage on those junipers next to the larger leaves and the weigela, isn't it? Super, super happy with how that looks right now. And I can't wait to put more into this garden bed. Well, thanks everybody so much for joining me today. I hope you had fun on this garden journey. We're gonna skip potting up the plants and I'll take care of that off camera. So have a great day and tell me what you guys are planning to plant this fall. I can't wait to hear. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.